Here we are. It has been a fantastic 2 days and just a great way to spend time with so many visionary, passionate, dynamic, engaged, enthusiastic people. From our panelists to our tech people in the background, to our keynote, and all of you participants in your active engagement in the chat and in the breakouts. That is definitely one of the takeaways I have of this whole event is just the great dynamism of the social purpose community here in Canada as we kick off the purpose economy today and celebrate Purpose in Business Week, which, by the way, continues till Friday. I don't even know if that's tomorrow anymore. I think it is. So, tweet and shout out to hashtag Propelling Purpose and hashtag Purpose in Business Week to make a joyful noise about your time here today. I'm going to invite Peter Tawim to join me. As you'll recall, he was our engaging moderator from day one. And he and I are just going to share some kind of top level notes from our time today as we kind of reflect on what our experience has been over the course of today. I'm just going to kick it off, Peter. I was in the session, as you probably were, on designing the ecosystem and was really struck by the conversation brought to the foreground by Chad Park, where he, from the Energy Futures Lab and Cooperators, one of the sponsors, when he talked about how polarization can be a problem. And as we're embarking on this narrative around the purpose economy, we need to make sure that we're creating roadmaps for all people to participate. And we need to be looking for common ground. He also said that we need to learn by failing and adapting. And that makes me think that the purpose economy is, in fact, an innovation economy. We're innovating a new way for business to operate. So we need to be gentle with each other and the businesses that are heading down this path of the purpose economy, encourage them to fail, but encourage them to learn from that failure and to realize that those purpose businesses are on a journey and we're all on that journey with them. Just any thoughts from you on that?
Yeah, I just want to say, the last 20 months of COVID, I think, have prepared us for those two things. Number one is, to be more gentle with one another. For us to get polarized and angry when we don't get things a certain way, we know that we've had to develop, exercise that patience muscle and come to the assistance and support of others around us. And then the other piece that you mentioned about, failing and trying things, Nat had mentioned that yesterday as well. We've seen that also during COVID. Companies, we all hate this word pivoting, but there's been lots of pivoting going on. And I think that's exactly what, so we have to do that to develop the social purpose economy of the future. And we've had some opportunity to practice those muscles over the last 20 months. So I think we're ready and primed for action.
Ready and primed for action. And that's a good thing, because as we heard from Toby Heaps, who's the founder and CEO of Corporate Knights, he was talking about how the challenges are so great and the power of business is so large that there's no way to tackle these challenges in society without businesses. And we need social purpose companies at this perilous and challenging time. So is that too kind of dark? Is that too grim for you, Peter? Or does that make you think this is the time to double down? Or what do you think about that narrative that this is a perilous time, so we should jump in? Or is there another way of making this exciting?
I think it's realistic. And again, to come back, Nat had talked about 5 different themes yesterday as well at the outset. And, whether we're talking about the global pandemic, those of us who live in British Columbia have seen heat domes and fires and floods. And I think we all know that, pandemic layered on top of that, we all know that we live in a challenging time. And I think we're also wanting to find solutions to these Gordian knots that we're facing. And I think the purpose economy allows us all to focus on being part of the solution in a way that's also, perhaps it's not great conditions that have led this here, but it gives us a sense, I think, of hope and optimism and the ability to achieve something and make progress on these really intractable issues that we're grappling with.
Well, on the positive side or the opportunity side, I was very struck by the conversations today in the government panel, where think of the remarks from Selena Bassi, who at the last minute jumped in for Bobby Plecas, the Deputy Minister of Jobs, Economy and Innovation, I think, in the BC government. She was talking about how she sees the purpose economy as a strategic advantage for the province. The way she sees it is that more businesses that are thriving, who are social purpose and are bringing all their assets, their resources, their reach, their influence, their know-how to addressing societal issues through their core business. She sees that as building BC's brand, or you could say applied nationally, would build Canada's brand, attracts capital to the province, attracts workers and employees to the province. And she sees it as basically a way to unlock untapped potential in the province, to use it as a compelling narrative to mobilize business and partners to realize the purpose economy. How do you see that? Is that something that resonates for you?
Well, they talk about the fact that, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for a different, outcome. And I think we can all agree that the sort of shareholder primacy, sort of economic neoliberalist model that we've been all, bathing in or marinating in for the last number of decades is just not working. It's what's led us to where we are. So I think it's really encouraging to see that there's some kind of alignment happening both at the federal government level here in British Columbia. They're also looking to leaders like Mariana Mazzucato to help inform some of this. The government's talking about wanting a just, sustainable economy where nobody is left behind. These are themes that are very much aligned with social purpose. So, I'd like to think that they talk about, an overnight sensation takes years to create. But I think we're at that stage where we're going to see that momentum building. And, now is the time, and we are the actors that can help make that happen.
And your point about we're shifting on. What I'm also hearing is that the old orthodoxies are being challenged. The way corporate governance has functioned to now, that is being challenged. The way businesses have operated to now, that is being challenged. Shareholder primacy is being challenged. And we have to realize that the shareholder primacy concept was a concept taught in business schools. And we can now teach students a new perspective about how businesses should operate and how economies should be run. So we have it in our powers. And on that, then, if Mary Ellen is ready, she's in the behind the scenes helping us. She's going to be queuing up a poll, and she's done it already. See, the technology does work after all. Here we are with a poll. If you were at this time with us yesterday, you will have seen a similar kind of poll. We are going to go through, Peter and I are going to walk through these ideas here. I think there's 10 of them. Ask you to vote on 5 of them, and don't vote yet because we want to orient you to what you're seeing. But we did this yesterday. We had 12, and we prioritized 4 that were the top from yesterday, and we brought them into the poll here today. So to those 4, we have added an additional 6 ideas that a group of organizers behind the scenes, myself and Peter, and this time Mike Rollins, who you heard earlier today, we brainstormed these leverage points that to put before you now so that you could prioritize those that you would like to see addressed in the purpose economy roadmap. So the question to you is, of these 10 things, which 5 do you think are necessary to use as guidelines and guiding points for all of us here today and all the partners that we'll be attracting in the future to double down, to really accelerate social purpose in business and create this purpose economy? So that's the overall voting sort of project here at the moment. And we're now, Peter and I are going to talk through these different points. And please wait until the end, because your favorite one might be at the very, very end. So wait until that. And then we're going to ask you to submit your votes. So we heard today, I shouldn't try his name, Hassan Youssef, I think, Canadian senator and the past president of the Canadian Labour Congress, really talk about the role of labour that needs to be brought into the purpose economy discussion, the role of trade unions, trades, labor, the labor movement, and colleges, who are often at the front line, colleges and institutes at the front line of providing education and training to trades and to labor generally, and that they should be engaged in the social purpose economy roadmap. So that's one point that we heard today. Another point that was discussed today is this idea of developing, I'm going to pause. Peter, what's your comment on the first one? What's your take on that?
Well, I think many times when we think of the business community, we think of the white collar business community. And what I like about this one is that it acknowledges that there's a whole array of stakeholders in the business community that goes beyond just those traditional folks that are sitting in offices. That certainly has been highlighted again during the pandemic. So for me, this is really important that we highlight, particularly as we are entering into a challenging time around trades, huge retirements and other things. We need to ensure that community is very much engaged in the social purpose conversation.
And related to that, there's a whole matter of the just transition, which could equally apply to social purpose businesses and the social purpose economy, moving out of an economy that's not driven by social purpose into an economy that is. There might be some implications for certain jobs in certain companies. And so we need to have a just transition in mind, and labor can help us do that. And I think this might be a time to actually call out that one of the social purpose companies that went through the Social Purpose Institute to define their social purpose is Community Savings Credit Union. And I mention them because their social purpose is to unite the working world. And they think of themselves as the union's credit union, if you will, and most of their members are in trade unions. So I think we actually have a social purpose company at hand who can help us with that. But it's just an example of the power of purpose that businesses can use to set their course for playing a role to make sure that no one is left behind in the transition to the purpose economy. So the second point up here, something you could choose, is to develop a social purpose rating system. And there was a debate about whether it should be a certification system or an accreditation system. And it was felt that a rating system would be a bit more generous, where you can kind of qualify as a bronze, silver, or gold, or heaven knows platinum, but that it was needed to help customers and buyers understand what would be the companies that had a social purpose that you wanted to drive your business to. And social purpose companies themselves might want to do that when they help their own suppliers become social purpose. Those that do, they would then have a brand or a rating, bronze, silver, or gold, as a signal that they are on the purpose path, if you will.
The message here is that we have to look beyond what we currently know, and that's more traditional business model, capitalist, neoliberal business model, and that there's a lot of inspiration and wisdom in different forms of economic knowledge that we can look at.
All right. Well, I have a bit of a list that I'm working from here, and you might as well on your computer, Peter. So I am going to speak to another one that's on the list, which will be shortly featured, which is to support all levels of government across Canada to develop social purpose, to create an enabling environment for social purpose in business. And we had a panel session today, which brainstormed, a number of leverage points, and then we had breakouts to discuss the role of government. So we have lots of ideas, and we felt that this would be something that perhaps this audience might want to prioritize. And Peter, do you want to pick up another one?
Yeah, to support nonprofits and civil society groups to collaborate with social purpose businesses. Again, this just speaks to the theme of collaboration that we've talked about over and over again in this conference, and the need to ensure that we're representing not just business voices at the table, but the voices of a broad range of stakeholders. And so nonprofits and civil society at large really help, shift that conversation into one where we're looking at a more social view of social purpose and not just a business angle.
Yeah, and I was quite struck by Greg Graves' remarks, and he's with the Employment and Social Development Canada, and he was speaking about how businesses could, and so was Mary Claire Zach, the social planner at the City of Vancouver, how businesses can partner with nonprofits and community groups to help bring their purpose to life. So social purpose businesses needing to partner with others to fulfill their purpose, it's pretty well necessary that they have that they can be matched up to the nonprofit sector and community groups and partnered with them to help bring their social purpose to life in collaboration with the nonprofit sector. So the nonprofit sector is going to be a central collaborating force to help social purpose businesses move forward in any kind of an impactful way, I guess you would say. There were another one that I would like to raise while we're waiting for the poll to come back up is the idea of developing a framework to measure social purpose. And this was a topic discussed quite a bit yesterday, that we need to have we need metrics, social purpose impact metrics that businesses can use to communicate what their social impacts are. And so this will be a necessary route on the path to purpose. And where are we now? So we've touched on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're now on number 7. Peter, did you want to speak to engage diverse communities?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a theme that I've touched on a few times already with, for example, embedding Indigenous and non-traditional economic models. It's the same thing. Pale, male, and stale is kind of what got us to where we are. That very traditional view that was very patriarchal and very Western-centric and so on. Canada doesn't look like that, never really did, and certainly doesn't anymore. And it's important that we reflect the totality of voices in Canadian society, and this points to the importance of doing that as we build an economy that really works for everybody.
Great. So very, very important leverage point as well, and a place to invest resources and direct some energy in that direction going forward. Related to the metrics, we also have here a strategy to create a purpose reporting framework insofar as current reporting models, not even, the terms we're hearing, SASB or IIRC and all the other reporting frameworks that exist. I'm not going to tell you what those metrics, what that acronym means, but there's a lot of reporting frameworks out there, GRI, and they don't really provide guidelines for businesses to report on their purpose per se. There's guidelines for business to report on ESG and of course on financial performance, but not on purpose performance. So what does a good disclosure framework look like? And then we have reforming business school education to include social purpose models. This bubbled up from yesterday as necessary to make sure that students graduating understand this idea of social purpose business and the purpose economy, and that exec education as well is harnessed to equip business leaders today with this idea of social purpose in business, and that they could learn how to define a social purpose and implement it and understand why that's necessary. Peter, I'll get you to do the next one.
Yep. The last one is really, to amplify social purpose heroes in order to inspire and engage the Canadian public. And again, I think that many of the principles that we've talked about speak to where people are at, but it's almost like coming out of the closet and saying, hey, it's okay to look at these different models. Like you're not being disloyal to a free market economy. It's just a different expression of it. And the more that we feature across a range of constituencies, those who are helping to drive forward the social purpose economy, the more the Canadian public will see themselves in it, and the more they will demand of governments and other actors in society that they become a part of this movement. And it really is, it's a different way of looking at how we make a living and sustain the economy. And this is a really critical way in order to do that, is to bring these people into the spotlight.
Okay, there you have it. 10 ideas for you to weigh in now, given all that you've heard and what you've been digesting and what you're thinking as you're walking away today. Which are the top 5 for you, leverage points or activation opportunities or necessary developments that all of us need to pay attention to as we are building the purpose economy and creating a movement around social purpose in business? Like, what is really necessary to tackle today to be able to accelerate?
And just one more note for those who weren't here yesterday, you can scroll down the screen, and once you've clicked on the ones that you want, maximum 5, click the submit button. And as soon as everybody's done, it'll show the results in real time.
You know what, Peter? I'm going to vote right now.
I just did.
Okay, so you can talk up right to the audience while I'm getting my numbers together.
Yeah. So if everybody can just make sure that they get their votes in as soon as we're all done, we'll be able to see those results. And I think it's really important that everybody understand that your participation in this conference is helping to define the actions that we're going to take and where we're going to go with this work. This is not just a talk shop, kind of a summit. This is one where all of you are helping to shape what the future can look like. And so from that perspective, I think, well, you have a lot of agency, but it's also pretty exciting to know that your voice really does matter. So.
All right, I'm going to assume we're ready because I voted. So if Mary Ellen could show the polling results, and let's see what we have here today. I'm just right now going to look for the top one. So develop a framework to measure social purpose. So metrics. And that seems to be the top one. And then fast follow is to develop that was the first one, was to engage diverse communities and voices.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, so
really important.
That, yeah. And so then the next up is to bring the Canadian public along.
Actually, no, it's before that. It's embedding Indigenous and non-traditional economic models. I got 35 people votes, followed by supporting all levels of government, and then the amplifying those purpose heroes.
Okay, I wasn't up at the top. Okay, there we go. You're a better reader of these polls than I am. You wouldn't have polling in your background now, would you, Peter?
One of my many talents, Cora.
All right. Well, yeah. So the diversity really comes to the foreground here.
Yeah, which is great to see.
Right. So the other point that would be made about diversity also is how diverse people's answers are. Like I would have to say everything, the lowest ranked here was, 5.8%, if I've got that right. Develop a social purpose rating system. And then the highest one was ranked at 14.8, almost 15%. So this was your range, but basically all of you were saying, let's do all these things. And some are a tick more important than others. And so that's going to be my takeaway again, which by the way, was the same, very similar takeaway to yesterday. Great diversity of views. It represents the diversity in the audience also to all of you and what you think is important. And so none of these things are going to be lost to the Purpose Economy Roadmap. And I can assure you that with your help, and the help of your partners and colleagues and allies, will be able to double down on all these points going forward. Yeah. So I then would like to encourage us to look now to the future. And at this point, technology willing, I am going to invite everyone to use this tool called Future Me, where you get to write a note to yourself that you could email to yourself in 1 year, halfway to the next summit, which is 2023. So at the halfway mark, so I'm going to say, what is that, November 18, 2022, we're going to have you right now write a note to yourself that you're going to get back then, provided you keep your same email. So if I were you, I would use your at-home email. So in case you move employment, it follows you. So write a note to yourself, and you can see here, Dear Future Me, and then you'll click 1 year, and then you will type in your email, and then you will send a note to your future. And I believe that link is in the conversation bubble. That is going to go to a web page. And so please go through and set a goal for yourself. I'm going to just pause, have you think about that.
And if for whatever reason you're having trouble reading the chat, it's just futureme.org. We'll take you to that page.
Futureme.org. Okay, thank you, Peter. So Peter, are you writing something to yourself?
I often mutter to myself. I don't often write to myself, but I will be. I'm right here.
Okay, Peter's typing away. And when he looks up, I'll know that you all must be ready as well. So I'm just going to give you another minute to type up a very compelling action item. Of course, I don't like to have too much dead space while we're on this conference platform. So I just wonder aloud, what would be my future me commitment? I think it would really be to do to support all of you in the social purpose community, to bring your own purpose story to life, to help you tap into your own personal origin story, how you got on the purpose path, and then really to do what I can, and through the Social Purpose Institute and through all the partners that helped brought the Social Purpose Conference to you today, to really help you tell your story and be seen as the hero that you are. So that will be my commitment, which I'll get around to writing later on. And so with that in mind, I'm going to believe that you've all finished this task, and I'm going to now go to another call to action to all of you. And for that, we have a surprise guest who I would like to call up to the stage, who is Mike Girvis, who's the CEO of Globe Series and the Delphi Group. And Mike is going to join me by turning on his microphone and camera. And I think I'm going to leave it to Mike to say why he's here. Mike, why are you here?
Great. Thanks, Cora. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure, Cora, to come out and join you in these things. So as Cora said, I'm Mike Girvis. I'm the CEO of a group of organizations that are working collaboratively towards our vision, which is to create a more sustainable, prosperous, and socially just future. And this group includes the Globe Series, which is the convening organization that brings together global innovators and change makers who are accelerating the transition to a clean economy. And it's best known for delivering North America's flagship sustainability event, which is the Globe Forum, which happens every 2 years, and it's the largest and longest standing event of its kind in North America. And the Globe Series and Social Purpose Institute share the belief that the climate emergency, growing social inequality, and the COVID pandemic really provide us with a lifetime opportunity to rethink the way the world does business. And that's why for the past 2 years, we've been thrilled to collaborate on advancing a cleaner and more purpose-driven economy. And this collaboration actually started back at Globe Forum 2020, which seems like a lifetime ago now, when Globe and SBI, along with Junction Strategy, partnered on a workshop focused on turning social purpose dialogue and vision into action. And the result of that session was the beginnings of the Purpose Economy Roadmap, intended to articulate key pathways to accelerate and scale social purpose in Canada, as well as a shared commitment to advance the roadmap and its critical actions. And since then, Globe, SBI, and Junction have co-hosted a series of virtual workshops over the last 20 months to deliver on this commitment, which brings us to the summit. And as I've heard and listened over the past 2 days, you've engaged in conversations that are critical to shaping and advancing a more sustainable and purpose-led economy. And you've had a chance to input into the version 2.0 of Canada's Purpose Economy Roadmap. And what's next now is to meet again in the next Globe Forum, February 2022, and continue to advance our shared vision of accelerating a clean and purpose-driven economy. So with this in mind, it's my pleasure to invite all of you to join me, Elizabeth Shirt, our Managing Director, our team, and of course our key partners, SPI, Junction Strategy, and lovely Cora Strandberg at Globe Forum 2022. With the theme of Destination Net Zero, this year's Globe Forum is going to bring the North American sustainability community together in Vancouver for the first time in almost 2 years since COVID-19 started. And we're going to be there to connect, to collaborate, and work together to advance a more sustainable future. And we're going to have local hubs, an array of virtual programming option, so you're going to have more access to more ideas and solutions than ever before. And you're going to get to network with wonderful people that you won't find anywhere else. So Globe, SBI, and Junction will continue our collaboration through a specially designed session at Globe 2022, where we'll continue to co-create Canada's purpose economy roadmap and explore how purpose-driven companies are accelerating the path to net zero. So registration will start for Globe 2022 next week. I encourage you to register early so you can be sure to take advantage of all Globe Forum 2022 has to offer. And I really want to thank Coro, the summit organizers, SBI for this fantastic event. It's been extremely interesting, intriguing, and we've really pushed the dialogue forward. So until I see you all at Globe Forum 2022, stay safe, stay positive, stay hopeful. Thanks very much.
Great. Thank you very much, Mike. And that's a part of the call to action to, in fact, join us all at Globe, where we will be continuing this discussion. And the Social Purpose Institute really, really values the partnership that we've had with Globe Forum, Globe Series, and it was instrumental in creating what we call version 1.0 of the Purpose Economy Roadmap at your advanced session, which we did so many years ago before the pandemic. And we're very excited we'll be compiling all these findings, all the input, these ideas from the participants of the last 2 days, our social purpose heroes of the last 2 days. And that will all flow into another curated dialogue back at Globe. And we hope that everybody can join us there for an in-person event as well. So thank you, Mike. And of course, this is where I rudely tell you to turn off your camera and shut off your microphone, and we'll see you at Globe. All right. Peter, I'm now going to start to kind of bring us home a little bit. I'm going to do a bit of a call to action here. But before you leave the stage, I just wonder if you wanted to share a final word before you do.
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to thank everybody for all of their participation. You know, I think I'm one of the first people in Canada with the title Chief Social Purpose Officer, and I definitely hope I'm not the last, and I'm pretty sure I won't be, given what's going on at this conference. I'm really energized by having spent this time with everybody, and I hope the rest of you are as well. You know, I mentioned my own personal purpose is around creating community and confidence to advance social and environmental issues in the world, and I think this is this summit has been really critical to creating that community and creating that confidence. So I look forward to seeing all of you out there in the purpose, social purpose economy landscape, and let's show them how it's done.
All right, thank you, Peter. And you're right already. Just yesterday, somebody reached out to me and said, would I be able to get a copy of Peter's Chief Social Purpose Officer job description? So that was just yesterday. So you'll have a lot in your community of practice, a little peer group there. I can imagine you'll be setting up soon enough. Well, so as we just heard from Mike, you have a chance to join us again to continue this discussion, to go deeper on this discussion at upcoming Globe series in February. But in addition, there's a number of other ways for you to stay engaged with this community. We have some follow-ups for you and what you can do with all the great ideas from today. Well, first, there will be a summary report, a highlights report, which we're going to work very hard over the Christmas season to have that available in your inboxes in January. So watch for that and watch for your ideas to show up there. Please keep that hashtag going, hashtag Propelling Purpose. That is what we'll be using for all of our convening going forward, and check back often for updates there. There's also a newsletter you can join, the newsletter list at the Social Purpose Institute. That is, if you go to the website, you've probably already found that, socialpurpose.ca, easy one to remember. Go there and subscribe to the newsletter, and that goes out every other week with lots of purpose news and topics. There will be a legacy video. We have a videographer in the behind the scenes taking your testimonials and videotaping some of our speakers. So watch for that in a few weeks. We are planning to invite you all next June for a check-in. So we're going to find a way to bring us all together virtually in June. So don't take your holidays then. No holidays allowed. We want you back with us in June for a check-in and a touch base with the social purpose community. So watch for that invite. You, the way we see it, you are the social purpose community, and we plan to stay in touch with you and to give you roles and platforms and opportunities to stay active in it. So we're nearly wrapping up here. I'm just going to make some final closing remarks as we reflect on the last 2 days. We've spent 2 days with about 250 people, maybe more, in various plenary sessions and breakouts and panel discussions. And here we are. We realize, of course, that the pandemic, which many of us have been talking about, have created the opening to analyze and reset everything we do. That pandemic pause, which, by the way, we haven't recovered from, has opened up this idea, this audacious idea, that we can actually design an economy that is creating long-term well-being for all within nature's limits. And I will tell you, speaker after speaker after speaker pointed to that as the grand ambition, that we are in fact creating and designing an economy that strives for income, racial, and Indigenous equality in a low-carbon, circular, and regenerative economy. So all of us are all bustling and hustling away on the same grand narrative. And we believe that the more businesses adopt a societal purpose as the reason they exist and bring all of their assets to play, their reach, their resources, their influence, their relationships, their expertise, when they bring all that to their social purpose, they'll be able to join and collaborate with all the actors we are hearing from today. The pandemic, of course, created a chance for us to be together virtually, which is not great, but some of the things about that meant that we didn't have to travel. So we can all do this from our pajamas at home, though not me. So virtuality is a route to collaboration. And we know that there are from time to time some hiccups with technology, and we really appreciate your generosity and hanging tough with us through that as we work through the platform to give you the best experience possible. We, in terms of our agenda, very wide-ranging, kicked off by Nahed Nenshi, where he was talking about collaboration across a range of actors. And then we heard from a group of CEOs and founders of businesses talking about the role of purpose in the modern corporation. And from there, we went to panels around the role of boards and investors and accountants in advancing purpose finance and governance. And those CEOs and those investment managers and heads of Institute for Corporate Directors, they really were passionate and optimistic and felt that there was an urgency to this opportunity, and were bringing their employees and their customers and their members along. And then we had a breakout on reimagining business education to advance social purpose business. And we're challenged by youth leadership that we weren't doing enough in business schools to bring this new narrative to the foreground. We had a session on the purpose business ecosystem with a number of business leaders, and they were talking about how they were using their business as a force for good to tap the shoulders of other business people to also become social purpose and invite them into the social purpose world so that they can be collaborators on the journey to purpose. And a session on the Social Purpose Association, and why not associations? If you think of their members, and they represent all sectors of society, all professions, if they could mobilize their memberships to pursue social purpose as well, then we are really creating an incredible significant impact that can only really advance Canada towards this long-term future that we have in mind, where we can all live well in a planet within planetary limits. And of course, we had some social purpose office hours, those who with companies who had defined their purpose, who were advancing their social purpose, companies, the social purpose companies that were really doubling down on the low carbon economy and international social purpose office hours. So we've really had an array of views and insights. And basically what we learned from everybody is that social purpose companies are there to align their own strategic goals with societies and to make things better, not just better things. We find out listening to all the speakers that social purpose is a team sport. Not only do businesses need collaborators to bring their social purpose to life, but the social purpose narrative, the social purpose roadmap needs collaborators to bring the roadmap to life. So it's truly a team sport. We learned that governance, accounting, and finance are being redefined, and that the old orthodoxies that govern these professions no longer hold. We heard from panelists saying that there's a sea change underway, and they're feeling optimistic. And they're calling out for people to feel just a bit uncomfortable because we're all having to lean in and be courageous and basically challenge the status quo. And that can be uncomfortable from time to time. So we need to have courage. And then, of course, we need to know about the importance of centering Indigenous wisdom and knowledge as we even imagine the purpose economy. And we have heard and we're reminded again that, in fact, Indigenous economics is the original economy. And that original economy was circular, it was relational, it was social in nature. So we have much to learn from our Indigenous people in Canada and around the world as we center their knowledge and their wisdom in our roadmaps. Buckminster Fuller, you may know him, the designer and futurist, an early environmentalist. He said, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete." And that is what we're doing, making today's model obsolete while we invest in the birth of a new economy, one that we have designed, one that's for the people. As we hear and understand, teamwork makes the dream work. And as one student said to me about her participation, she said that if other participants leave feeling as jazzed as I did, big changes are on the horizon. So I hope you're all feeling jazzed as you go forward and celebrate your last 2 days and your role in defining this new vision for business. And thank you for bringing all your energy to this work as we move forward ahead. And we all know that people inspire other people, and you have inspired us. And we hope that you can go forward and bring your own story, your own narrative, your own experience, and use your voice in the channels where you have them. And thank you for joining us on the Purpose Economy journey today. Mary Ellen, now if you would like to join me on the stage, and you will be the one to wrap us up and send us home.
Great. Thank you, Coro, for those moving words. I got chills as you were talking.
There she is. All right, so I'm going to leave you now. Bye-bye.
Coming and going, who knows? Coro, thank you for those moving words. I literally got goosebumps when you were talking, so thanks for that. Before we completely wrap up, I know some of you more competitive types are wondering who won our 5 great prizes for the Summit Activity Challenge. So I'm ready to announce those now. If our tech team could bring up the leaderboard. Let's see. All right. Okay, so look at this. In the lead for our grand prize, a Coursera Plus annual subscription valued at $500, courtesy of Coast Capital, it's Michelle Reed. Congratulations, Michelle, a fellow social purposer. And a $300 prepaid Visa card, Brittany Laverdure. Congratulations. And Sarah Baea, a $200 Apple gift card. And then the 2 runners-up, Charlie and Gail, will each receive a $100 prepaid Visa card, and we will be in touch with you so you get your prize. Congratulations. And a final shout out today to today's sponsors, Coast Capital, our presenting sponsor, Junction Strategy, Impact Partner, BCLC, convening partner, and also the cooperators who sponsored a session today. Without your support, this would not have been such a great success. So thank you. Well, what an exhilarating couple of days. I really, really want to thank all of you for coming, for spending the time, for participating wholeheartedly. You really did all bring your best to the table to help co-create the next iteration of the roadmap to the purpose economy, one powered by the pursuit of long-term well-being for all, fostering an equitable, flourishing, resilient future. As you've heard from Coral, it doesn't stop here. A couple other things you can do to stay engaged. This platform, Launch Interactions, and the link you use to get in here is open for another 6 months. So you can come back, access all the content and resources for another 6 months here, as well as Summit on Demand in your main menu. We'll be ready tomorrow with the recordings from all the sessions. So come back tomorrow if you missed something and want to see it, it will be sitting there as well. And as we said, the United Way Social Purpose Institute will be actively keeping you informed of any new developments and opportunities to stay engaged. And we hope to see you at Globe Forum in February 2021. And we are already looking forward to welcoming you and the ever-growing Canadian social purpose ecosystem back to Propelling Purpose 2023. So mark your calendars. We hope to see you there again. So with that, a very fond goodbye, a final thank you, and until next time. Goodbye, everyone.